Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the 2023 Winners and Whiners NFL Prediction Show. My name is Mason Folz. I'm here today with a very special cast. You guys know them. You love them. They're some of the best handicappers on our team, and they've been extremely hot as of late. I know they're excited for Week 15. I'm really excited for Week 15. And honestly, I'm glad that Week 14 is over, as some of those games were snoozers. Some of them caused a lot of controversy, you could say. And I'm ready for a new week. So before we dive into these NFL games, I wanted to introduce all of our amazing cappers. To my right, you see him. He's in his Buffalo cave. You can find Chris watching the Bills every week, as he's one of the biggest fans out there. And I'll tell you, he remembers everything that they do back to before I was born. So if you got any questions, make sure to hit up Chris on Twitter, as he's an absolute genius. Chris King out of Buffalo. How you doing, sir?
Well, back before you were born, I mean, that was this century, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Another Jack Kemp to Marlon Briscoe completion.
And don't forget Cookie Gilchrist.
Ooh,
Who could?
And don't forget Paul McGuire and Marty Schottenheimer.
Sure.
There's a Chiefs connection for you.
Fine linebackers.
Proving my point for me. But yeah, very
it was
happy.
It was a good week. The consternation was, for 3.5 quarters, the under in that Miami-Tennessee game looked real good last night, and then all of a sudden, the last 4 minutes happened. On the plus side, Miami lost, so that's always a nice thing, but it sucked being an underbidder in that game, watching it just completely disintegrate in the last 4 minutes.
I couldn't imagine, unlike a Miami Dolphins minus 13 better, as I'm not going to lie, I had the Dolphins minus 13, and that didn't feel as great as I wanted it to. So, like I said, happy for a new week, and can't wait to hear what Chris is picking this week's NFL games. And now to the right of Chris, we've got our man out of PA, Mr. Rye Cape, Tom Macrina. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing better than most of the starting quarterbacks in NFL. I show up to work.
Hey, that's a great point. We've definitely got a lot of backup quarterback bowls that we're going to be looking at today. So glad you're feeling a little bit better than them.
But look at the plus side, Tom. They get paid to not show up.
It's true.
A lot. They get paid a lot, I might add. It's not a bad gig. So a little jealous of them there. But we got another great guest right below Rye. Scott Reichel. How you feeling, sir? Your Jets got a big win this last Sunday. You ready to finish the season strong?
No, they just need another 4 or 5 big wins, and then suddenly they're cooking. But yeah, overall, can't complain too much. Looking forward to going to the games today.
Perfect. And my co-host, you guys know him, you love him, down in Kansas City. I know that he's got some strong opinions about his team, but we'll wait until their game comes up before he lets those out. Mr. Scott Steehn. Steen, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Spoiler alert: they're terrible. Okay, I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, that's nice to be here. I watch college basketball every night, and then I go over this card, and I'm trying to figure out why the NFL is the most popular sport in America. Did you look at some of these matchups, man? They're not good. They're not good. Once again, I think we have 7 games from the NFC South, so that'll be fun. But yeah, I'm looking forward to going through the games and just ripping on both sides. This is an interesting mix. We have a Broncos fan, a Bills fan, an Eagles fan, a Chiefs fan, and a Jets fan, and then Reichel gets to expand through some sort of nebulous family contact that he also declares the Dallas Cowboys as his other favorite team. So I'm going to declare right now that the San Francisco 49ers are my favorite team. I've been there twice, love the city, taken a tour. The Niners, my new favorite team. There you go.
I'm not judging at all. I actually looked at my dad this last week watching the games, and I said, well, they got John Lynch, they got Shanahan's son, they got McCaffrey. I said, can we just switch to 49ers fans at this point so we can actually see a decent team? But I can't complain. The Broncos have actually kept me upright the last few weeks. I haven't been burying my head in the pillows after the game, so glad they're rolling around, but I'm not going to be surprised if they turn to their old ways soon. But
it was an easy win for you this week. Usually you're sweating it out until the very end. You actually had an easy win this week.
Well, I think I've decided if you're going up against Staley, it's just he's not a very good head coach. We can add him to your list of head coaches that don't deserve a job.
Staley's at the top of his list already.
It's one of those ones where when Reichel hates him, we can all agree. He's terrible. He is a terrible coach.
Yep.
No question about it.
I agree.
So real quick, Reichel, is Mike McDaniel a terrible coach because of yesterday?
No, but I think that there's definitely a problem when you can't beat a winning team for about a year and a half, and you can't hold on to 14-point leads at home in the final 3 minutes. So I don't think he's a terrible coach, but I think that people think that he's a savior. I think that's a little bit overboard. I think he's good. That's really it.
So he's been downgraded from 2 weeks ago from really good to good.
Yeah, pretty much.
We'll have to see if he continues in that direction or if he starts to climb back up Reichel's list. It'll be interesting to see this week. A lot of low totals, a lot of interesting games. But before we dive in, I did want to remind all of you about our premium packages that we have on the Whiners and Whiners website. You can find the link down in the description. Myself, the Steamroller, Chris King, and Rye Cape, we're all putting out premium picks every single day. And then Scott Reichel, you can find him on Twitter as he's handing everything out completely free. You guys got to give him a follow if you're looking for money-free picks. He's been killing it and one of my favorite cappers to follow. So don't forget about those premium picks. And then I also wanted to remind you about all those social media links down in the description. Twitter, Discord, TikTok. We're winning parlays left and right. We're having a blast, and we just want a few more of you to join our team. So that's all that we have to remind you about, and let's get ready to dive into these games. The first one we're going to look at, it's on Thursday night. Another backup quarterback we get to watch. The Chargers, they're traveling to take on the Raiders. Las Vegas is a 3-point favorite, and this total is set at a whopping 34 points. Chris, let's start out with you. Who do you like in this one?
Well, let's face it. It's Easton Stick going to run the offense now for the Chargers. We saw him a little bit against Denver. He was mediocre. I wouldn't say he was good. I wouldn't say he was bad. Aiden O'Connell on the other side. I think the first team that gets to 10 points probably wins. Knowing Brandon Staley, who we already determined Reichel loves as his favorite coach of all time, will probably go for it on fourth down in his own territory 2 or 3 times and give the Raiders a short field. If I had to take a side, I'd take the Raiders and give the points. But I'm going to stick with the under here. I don't trust either one of these teams to do anything. Come on, the Raiders are coming off a game where they lost 3-0. 3 to friggin' nothing.
Tied an NFL record.
Yeah, I saw people gloating that, they took the live under 6.5 and managed to survive. There's nothing to like on either one of these teams offensively. I was all hyped up when the season started because, the Chargers had Mike Williams and Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler and all those guys. And then Williams got hurt and Eckler missed time and now Herbert's gone. The Chargers are a train wreck. Better luck next year. The question is, will the Chargers score more points than Khalil Mack will have sacks because he sacked Aiden O'Connell 6 times in the first meeting this season?
That will be interesting to watch. Definitely put that in your little reminders. Maybe you want to take Khalil Mack as a player prop to record some sacks.
Does that bring his total to 6 on the season?
No, he's got 15.
Yeah,
he's close to the league lead, I
15
think, because
sacks?
one game he had a ton of them. So,
okay.
Bringing it back to old school days for Khalil Mack. That's good to see. But Rye Cape, how about you, sir? Who you liking in this Chargers versus Raiders matchup?
Yeah, I'm going the same direction. Obviously, we don't know much about Easton Stick, but what we do know is that the Las Vegas Raiders have a great pass rush, so they're going to get to them. Raiders don't have a good defense. As Chris said, they scored 0 last week. Chargers aren't good. They're not going to get the pass. Obviously, Vegas is going to have to get Jacobs going, but yeah, I don't see many points. Chargers only scored 23 in their last 3 games, and that was with Herbert in. Also, Vegas is on the short week, so I agree with the under.
I like it. Reichel, how about you?
yeah, I'm on the under. I can't really make a case for points in this game. I don't really want to lay 3 with the Raiders, but at least the Raiders have some pride where they're actually willing to play hard. I don't know what the Chargers are doing. It's like they already know Staley's going to get fired, and they already accepted the fact the season's over, so they're still playing out the string. But the Raiders, with an interim coach who maybe will become the full-time coach, we'll see what happens. At least they've kind of bought in to the toughness and the message that he's trying to send. But 3 is a lot of points to be laying with Aiden O'Connell, who I think's abysmal as a quarterback. Stick, I'm not sure if he's good or bad. Probably somewhere most backup quarterbacks are meh. Usually not great, but he might be better than O'Connell in this case. I'm really on the fence here for the side because I don't want to lay 3 with O'Connell, but I definitely don't trust the Chargers right now. But I like the under as my favorite play. If I had to pick a side, I'd probably lean to the Raiders because I do think at least they've shown some type of energy on the defensive side of the ball. They've shown some type of pride of trying to actually win games despite the season being well over already. The Chargers, I just think, are waiting for Staley to get fired at this point, and they're just stalling. So I'm going to lean Raiders, but I don't feel great about it. But I definitely love the under in this game. I don't see any points at all.
I like it. Steehn, how about you?
I hate to do it, but I'm on the under here as well. I just don't see where the points are going to come from. You've got Easton Stick and Aiden O'Connell, another dream QB matchup in the most popular sport in America. Vegas not only not good on the offensive side, they don't run many plays. In fact, they're dead last in number of plays per game. I expect to see the Chargers lean heavily on Austin Eckler to kind of take some of the pressure off the pride of Omaha, Nebraska, by the way, of North Dakota State University, Easton Stick. These two teams combined have gone 19-6-1 to the under. Chargers' last 3 have all landed under 34, and 3 of the last 4 for the Raiders have landed under that magic total as well. You tell me where the points are going to come from. I don't know how many games they'd have to play to get to 34, but I think in just one game, no way they get close. Give me the under in this one.
Yep, I hate doing this, but I've got the under 34 as well. I can't find where the points are going to come from, exactly like you guys are saying. 2 backup quarterbacks. Raiders haven't been able to score as of late, and the Chargers haven't scored consistently in the last 3 games, and now they're without Herbert. And that's really all that I had to hear. So I'm riding with the under there. And speaking of backup quarterbacks, we can head over to Saturday. It's the Vikings. They're going to head to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. The Bengals are 3.5-point favorites, and this total set at 38.5. Chris, who you betting on in this one?
As much as I hate to say it, I'm going to have to lean towards Cincinnati. I'd rather see the Bengals lose, but Minnesota's going with Nick Mullins now at quarterback. Dobbs is out, been benched. Apparently, they don't want to see the Jaron Hall experiment. But Madison is banged up. I know he left the game the other day for Minnesota. Jefferson left the game. Granted, they say he's going to be fine to go this week, but he wasn't overly involved in the game the other day. And if you couldn't move the ball against the Raiders, Cincinnati's still a pretty decent defensive team, and they get turnovers, and that's a big thing. Minnesota's turned the ball over 24 times already this season. Cincinnati's forced 21 takeaways. They're a plus 10 in that department. I just think that, whoever plays quarterback, if Mullins lasts the whole game, or if they go back to Dobbs, or if they go to Hall, or if they go to the carcass of Fran Tarkington, or maybe Rich Gannon can come out of the booth, it doesn't really matter. I can't trust Minnesota to maintain possession of the ball. You give Cincinnati a couple short fields, and they can convert them. Browning has looked good in his 2 starts, that pick 6 notwithstanding the other day. I'll take Cincinnati at home. I think they'll win by 7.
Bri, how about you? Who you liking in this Vikings versus Bengals game?
Yeah, so I think Madison is out. So they're going to have, I guess, their 3rd stringer in now. But
so I need another running back, too, for fantasy.
But they don't run the ball anyway. But, I'd like to over here. I understand it's 2 backup quarterbacks, but these offenses are set up so the quarterback really all he has to do is get the ball to the weapons, which both teams have a lot of weapons. As Chris said, Browning has looked good. I think Mullins can do what needs to be done to get this number over. I see a bunch of big plays from both teams, so I like the over here.
Reichel, are you liking the over again in this one?
It's pretty tricky not knowing how Minnesota is going to actually generate points because I think Nick Mullins is not a good quarterback by any means. Might be better at this point than Dobbs. I don't know what happened to Dobbs. He fell off a cliff. But I do think that you're looking at the Bengals probably winning this game comfortably. There's a lot of backup quarterbacks starting now in the NFL. Jake Browning, potentially the best one, or one of the best ones. He's been really good for this team. And it feels like they really haven't missed a beat ever since Burrow got injured. Cincinnati's been rolling. Had a nice, easy win against the Colts, a playoff team at that point over the weekend. I'm going to take Cincinnati. I like what I've seen. The defense has gotten better. Still have Chase, still have Higgins, still have a pretty good ground game with Mixon. But it does seem like even with Burrow being out, this team could have rolled over and just accepted their fate. They didn't do it. I think they might make the playoffs. This Bengals team's not bad. So I'm going to go with the Bengals to get the job done. I know Minnesota beat the Raiders 3-0. A win's a win. I get it. But damn, this team's falling apart. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Bengals here minus 3.5.
Steamroller, are you riding with the group, or are you heading towards that lone wolf area?
Yeah, no, this is going to be a boring show so far for at least the first couple of picks. I've got the Bengals here too. I've got a question. How many teams do you think would happily start Jake Browning right now? Half?
Right now? Well,
At least 10 or 12.
I'd say
Saints
10 or
are
12.
included because of Derek Carr. So,
Okay, so
I don't know, maybe
I've
half
got
the
it.
league.
I've got it up here. I'm going to go through it real
Falcons,
quick and tell me which ones you disagree with. Jets, Patriots, Browns, Steelers.
I'll put a pause on the Browns because Flacco's actually been good. But I'll put a pause on the Browns. But we can argue about that one.
Titans, Chargers, Raiders. We'll put Giants and Commanders on the fence. Vikings, Bucks, Falcons, Saints, Panthers.
The whole friggin' division.
Yeah, good division.
Yep.
I think the Bucks will probably tell you no because they've been winning some games here and there with Baker, but you can make an argument. So basically half the league.
I think you're getting close to half. I
Yeah.
really think you're getting close to half. He has been good since he replaced Burrow. He's made 2 starts, 50 of 61, 81.9%, 629 yards, 3 TDs, 1 pick. Minnesota, this is a defense that's playing well, but they can't stay off the field. Their offense does them no favors at all. And except for last week, they're a team that doesn't generally do well in the second half. I think this Bengals team has a lot of weapons. The defense plays well. There is an opportunistic defense. The Vikings are also opportunistic because as many turnovers as they have, they're only -5 in turnover margin, which is just one of the more phenomenal stats in the league because this is a team that, especially early in the game, has not been able to take care of the ball at all. Once again, I'm hoping to Mason. They're looking to Mason to go lone wolf here because you're not getting it from me. I got Cincinnati -3 1/2.
Yeah, not going to get it from me either. I like the Bengals -3.5 as well at home. I really like Browning as a backup quarterback. I know you guys have gone over it already, but he really impressed me against the Colts. And he also impressed me against the Jags in that overtime win 2 weeks ago. I think he's going to keep rolling, keep getting the ball to his targets. And the Bengals, I think they're the better overall team. The Vikings in their last 3, I know they just beat the Raiders, but it wasn't a good win. It didn't impress me at all. Then they lost to the Bears and the Broncos. Those 3 teams, they don't impress me. They're going to continue to struggle, and I think the Bengals are going to stay strong at home in this game on a Saturday morning, actually. And then luckily, we have another Saturday game right after that one. Another high-scoring affair, possibly. Not really. The Steelers, they're traveling to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. The Colts are still a 2.5-point favorite, and this total set at 42. Chris, who are you betting on in this one?
Well, as much as it would be entertaining to say that I think Pittsburgh will win, we're talking about a team that just lost back-to-back games against teams that were at least 8 games under 500. First time in NFL history that a team with a winning record would do that. They sucked against the Cardinals. I know everybody's going to say, well, there was weather delays and Kenny Pickett got hurt. Well, you just lost to New England. And there weren't any weather delays there. You just played bad football. The Colts, 2 weeks ago when we talked about the Tennessee game, I was the lone wolf. I took the Colts in that one. They won the game in overtime. I'm going to take them here. I like Gardner Minshew better than I like Mitch Trubisky at quarterback. The Steelers look like they've reverted right back to where they were before Matt Canada got fired offensively. They can't move the ball. George Pickens looks pissed off. Deontay Johnson looks disinterested. There's no reason to trust the Steelers, even especially going on the road. Granted, they can't blame the weather this time because they'll be indoors. But I think to change a wrestling quote, which Steehn always loves when I do, what you gonna do, brother, when Minshew Mania runs wild on you? I'll take the Colts -2.5.
I think it's not so much the wrestling quotes; it's the age of the wrestling quotes. If you want to use something from this century, that's okay. But you start pulling out wrestling quotes from the '80s. Come on, buddy.
But technically, he was still wrestling in the 2000s.
I'm not talking about.
Technically, Ric Flair was still doing wrestling like 3 years ago. It doesn't really matter, right?
Actually, I think it was last year.
It was last year?
Yes, it was.
And actually, he's in AEW now.
Guy either really needs the money or he doesn't know what the word retirement means. But either way, it doesn't really
I mean,
matter.
he is famous for saying he would never retire back when he was in the WWE back in the early 2000s.
I'm not getting involved in this one as I am not a WWE or Wrestling Mania fan.
It doesn't matter if you're a WWE fan.
There we go.
All right.
But I'm not doing it. I refuse to dive into that conversation, so I'm going to pass it over to Rye, as I'm really interested to see who he likes in this Steelers versus Colts game.
Yeah, so I'm on the other side. I'm not too worried about the last two games for Pittsburgh. I think the offense looks more like they did against Cincinnati. They're playing in a more comfortable role as an underdog. Trubisky should be more confident playing this week, especially against the Colts defense. This defense gives up a lot of yards. I just think the Steelers are going to be able to move the ball. I think Steelers cover here. I'm going to sprinkle on the money line as well.
Reichel, you going to get bold and take the underdog here, or are you going with the Colts?
This is such a BS game that Tomlin finds a way to win, historically speaking, even though this team's atrocious. But I don't know how good the Colts are. Like, the Colts are a playoff team, allegedly, but I watch them play and I'm never impressed. They find ways to win games. So I feel like it's a spot where Pittsburgh does have the extra prep time since they played on Thursday. So they do have a couple extra days there. Pittsburgh is still in the playoff hunt, which tells you we have too many playoff teams currently with the current construction, because I don't want to see this team in the playoffs. I think I am going to lean to Pittsburgh. I hate it. I hope I'm wrong because I can't stand this Pittsburgh team, but it really depends on if Watt and Highsmith are healthy or not, because they barely played in the Patriots game, and that's going to be a big deal. So once again, I'm trying to make this prediction on Tuesday without knowing the injury report, but I think I am going to lean to Pittsburgh. I just think that the Colts have been overachieving a bit based on the last month and change. Pittsburgh is kind of in the middle of rock bottom, and yet they still have a chance to make the playoffs. For pride purposes and from Tomlin's just history of rising up against good teams with records, I don't know if the Colts are good or not, but still, I'm going to lean Pittsburgh. I'm going to show up, and I think they surprise the Colts here. So I'm going to lean to Pittsburgh.
I like it. Steamroller?
Reichel, just say Tomlin magic and move on.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I'm going with the home team here. This is a Pittsburgh offense. I just am not a believer. Averages 13.5 points over their last four. Trubisky has been fine, kind of captain check down, 48-79, 3 picks, 3 touchdown passes, averaging just 5.1 yards per attempt. That is not ideal. That's just with numbers like that, it's surprising he's not playing for Carolina. This is a Colts defense that's been vulnerable for the run against the run, but I think they sell out. I think they stack the box. I think they work on stopping that Pittsburgh running attack and dare Trubisky to beat them. I don't think he can do it. I'll take the Colts by the 3.
I like it. I'm going to end this one with a little bit of a tiebreaker. I'm going to ride with Steelers plus 2.5, and I am sprinkling money line as well, as I think the Steelers team just finds different ways to win ugly games. Losing 2 in a row to 2 disgusting opponents in the Cardinals and the Patriots, I think the public's going to do everything they can to take the Colts here, and I just don't think the Colts are a very good team. So I'm going to trust Tomlin. I'm going to trust the Steelers defense. I really hope TJ Watt plays. If he doesn't, I would highly consider just not betting this game. But if he does play, I'm going to be all over the Steelers money line here, as I just don't buy into this Colts team yet.
Mason, we need a new graphic for Okie Doke alert. We're getting okey doked by the Steelers right here, buddy. They're not as bad as their recent games. Look out for the okey doke.
Oh, no, they're also not as good as they looked in some games either.
Yeah, I agree with Reichel 100%. I think they could be a bad team, but I think the Colts are also a bad team, I guess is the best way for me to put that in that situation. So I don't know. I don't think it'll be a great game overall, but I don't know. It's going to be ugly, and I think that's perfect for the Steelers. So I'm going to ride with them. And then I wanted to remind everyone, we have that Saturday night game between the Broncos and the Lions, but all of our expert handicappers, the 4 of us here, and Reichel, I guarantee you he'll have some free plays out in this game. We're going to be putting our premium picks down here. We have all of our packages available. We'll have all of our packages available on Sunday and Monday as well. Best bets, 3 packs, whatever you need, we got it. So don't forget about those premium picks. And then I did want to take this time to remind you guys, like Reichel was saying, we are recording this on Tuesday. As if there's any breaking news, big injuries, or anything else we leave out, make sure to check up on that before you place any of your bets. Now, with our next game, we're going to finally get to Sunday, as we've got another interesting matchup. I know these are Steamroller's favorite. The Falcons, they're 3-point favorites, heading on the road to take on the Carolina Panthers. The total set at 35. Chris?
Are there any good games on the card?
No, I don't think so.
No?
They were canceled due to lack of interest.
Yeah.
I would normally say we're going to get to them,
but
I would normally say we're going to get to them, but I'd be lying.
Yeah, I think all the good teams play in the late windows.
Yep.
Or prime time Monday.
They're interesting, but hey, if anyone can pick them, I know it's us. So Mr. King, who you taking in the Falcons versus Panthers game?
Well, let's see. We just watched Desmond Ridder actually look like an NFL quarterback for the first time in his life. Threw for 350 yards against Tampa Bay. Of course, their last ditch effort got tackled at the 3, because when you're down by 4 points in the final minute, you should throw a pass to get you short of the end zone. Fortunately, they face a Carolina team that's won once all season. The Panthers are giving up 21 touchdowns on the ground. That's the worst in the league. You have 4.2 yards a carry, almost 1,600 yards allowed on the ground this year. If Arthur Smith has half a brain in his head and wants to be coaching next season, he'll actually hand the ball off to Robinson or Algay or Cordarrelle Patterson or William Andrews or Steve Broussard or anybody. Don't let Ridder throw the ball. Either way, like I said, Carolina's 1-12. They got steamrolled by a Saints team that we know how much Reichel loves Dennis Allen. He's right up there with the Brandon Staley's of the world as a coach. I'll take the Falcons. I'll give the 3. This Carolina team just looks completely disinterested. They fired Frank Reich. They changed up the offensive scheme where Bryce Young's throwing the ball deeper down the field. The problem is he's not completing any passes.
What did he start in that game last week? Like 7 of 21, something like that?
Yeah, he was like 9 of 9. I think
rough.
he finished 9. He was 9 of 28 at one point.
Yeah.
13 for 36.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. 13 for 137 yards, and he got sacked 4 times. There's no way in hell I would touch Carolina in this game. I'll take Atlanta. They should win by double figures just because this Panthers team can't move the ball.
Valid. Rye, you riding with the Falcons, or you picking on the Carolina Panthers to pick up their second win of the year?
Yeah, I'm the same way. It's like, how many points do I need to actually back Carolina? Falcons are not a good team. They look good offensively time to time, but as the Falcons do, after they take a lead, they blow it. Ridder has some bad throws, missed opportunities. They missed 2 field goals last week. But, yeah, I need a lot more points here to back Carolina. They were 0-2 in the red zone last week, 1-7 on 4th down, 8 for 20 on 3rd down. In real life, I have no interest in this game, but I'll take Atlanta for show purposes.
Reichel?
Yeah, I'm going to take Atlanta in this one. Ridder showed flashes last week. Part of it's because Tampa's pass defense is abysmal, but still, point is he looked the part for at least 1 week. Bryce Young, I understand they have no weapons. I know the coaching staff sucks. They have a lot of issues overall. He might be the least talented number 1 quarterback draft pick I've ever seen. And I know he won the Heisman. I get it. I know he had a good time at Alabama. But if you watch him play, does he have any elite attributes at all? I know that he's fast. He's a little bit shifty. Does he have a great arm? Not really. Is he accurate? Not really. I don't really know. Like, what does he do? I know that there's been a lot of quarterback busts in the past. And once again, I'm not saying that any quarterback could have been dropped into Carolina and been successful. That's not what I'm saying. But when you're looking at all the bust quarterbacks, for example, Jamarcus Russells of the world, any of these guys, at least they had some attributes. They had some physical tools that could have made them successful. I don't know what Bryce Young's good at. What is he good at? Does he have any elite attributes as a quarterback?
Quick question for you.
He's mobile. He's mobile.
He's mobile? Okay.
Quick question.
I agree that he's quick, I guess. Is he Kyler Murray quick? Not really. Like, I think he's somewhat quick, but that's kind of my point. I don't think his arm talent's anything special.
Bigger bust, David Carr or Bryce Young?
I can't officially call Bryce Young a bust because, once again, it's year one and he got dropped into the worst situation imaginable. But just watching him play, I don't think I've been impressed by him a single time, and we're in week 14 or 15. It's been rough. The best quarterback performance this season was by Andy Dalton in one game against Seattle. It's been really bad. But I'm going to go with Atlanta. I just don't think there's anything to like about this Carolina team. Even the special teams unit's not great because they gave a block to punt for a touchdown. Their best player this season's arguably Eddie Pinheiro. I can't trust this team. They're just bad. So I'll go with Atlanta. They're fighting for a division, which tells you how bad the NFC South is. But at least they are fighting for something. Carolina's got pride. That's basically it. But you said that Young last week went 13 of 36. It's so bad to watch this team play. I'm going with Atlanta. Once again, you might think I'm being harsh on Bryce Young, but I just don't see any unique attributes that are going to translate immediately to winning football. So I'm going to go with Atlanta.
Steen, how do you feel about this NFC South matchup?
I feel like this is a pretty boring show so far. I really do. I just see absolutely no reason to play the Panthers here. They're 30th in points. They're 31st in points allowed. You have come by your one win, honestly. You've come by your terrible season, honestly. There's no tricks there.
They've earned it, damn it.
Last week I said, well, Carolina needs to run the ball. Great. Well, they ran the ball for 204 yards last week against New Orleans. Guess what? Lost by 22. So that ain't the answer. Bryce Young, I think it's been well documented by my previous handicappers here. Hasn't thrown for more than 194 yards in the last 6 weeks. Carolina, not surprisingly, lost all 6 of those games, and they've lost them by an average of 12 points per game. No, I don't love the Falcons. I don't love Desmond Ridder. You got 2 guys that should be backups, but they're starting. Give me the man with one shoe.
I was really hoping one of you would take the Panthers here, as I'm on the Falcons -3 as well. I can't bet on the Panthers. They just continue to look bad. And like you guys said, I don't need to say it anymore. Bryce Young, not very good to start the year. I think those struggles are going to continue. And even though this Falcons team isn't that impressive either, I think that they're going to be able to run the ball on this Panthers team and score just enough points to cover this spread. Our next game, another fun one, the Chicago Bears. They're traveling to Cleveland to take on the Browns. The Browns are 3-point favorites, and this total's set at 38. Chris?
You get the feeling the odds makers just took the fucking week off. Yeah, make it 3. 3's good. And 30 something.
3's and 38.
38. Oh,
3's and 35 to 38 is a common theme today. I feel like.
I think they're all on fucking vacation this week.
They just
Sorry
get
about
For the record, by the way, just looking at the actual sheet of games that we have here, what is that? 5, 6, 7. Each of the first 7 games we're talking about has a spread around 3.5 to 2.5.
Yep.
So.
Yep, I noticed that as well. It's gonna be some tight games. It'll be really interesting to see. As I know that it looks weird to see these odds, but Vegas, man, they always seem to know what they're doing. So if anything's telling us with these spreads, hopefully we get some good games. So interesting to see, but we're on to the Bears versus Browns. Chris, the Browns are 3-point favorites. Who are you taking in this one?
Yeah, I'm looking at this. I'm looking and see that the over-under is 38 points. And I'm thinking, first, where the hell are you going to get 38 points from? Because these teams turn the ball over all the friggin' time. Cleveland has turned the ball over 27 times this season. 7 times in the last 3 weeks. Then you look at the Bears, they've turned it over 21 times. So I'm thinking, well, maybe we'll get some defensive touchdowns. But even then, if they get a turnover and they don't score defensively, can you trust these offenses to put the ball in the end zone? And the answer is, I don't know. The Bears, they forced 11 turnovers in the last 3 weeks, which is more than they had in the first 10 weeks of the season. They made Jared Goff look pedestrian in both meetings. They were fortunate. Detroit was fortunate to get a split in those 2 games as it was. I'm going to lean towards the Browns because the game's at home and everybody knows how fickle the winds can be blowing off of Lake Erie. I know the Bears are familiar with that kind of weather with Lake Michigan. But I don't know if I can trust Chicago to do enough against Cleveland's defense to put up enough points to win the game. But I don't even know if we're going to get to 38 points. I'll take Cleveland -3, but I'm going to also lean towards the under.
Rye, what are you liking in this one?
Yeah, I like Cleveland too. Obviously, the Bears have looked good the last couple weeks, winning 2 in a row, 3 of their last 4. but they're facing a real defense this time in the Browns. The Browns do well at containing dual threat QBs. Cleveland has been great at home. They've won and covered 6 of their last 7 at home. They're only giving up 10.2 points at home. Fields has played well in Chicago. He doesn't have the same success away from Chicago. Joe Flacco has looked good in this system. Browns like to run the ball, so Flacco won't have to do too much. I think Cleveland covers here.
Reichel, you like Cleveland as well?
Well, Cleveland's got an elite quarterback because Joe Flacco's still around. So, I do think that Cleveland's got an advantage there. No, but Flacco's been good with the system. I'll give Fields props. He has been better lately, but I still don't trust his actual decision-making through the air. Detroit's always had an issue with mobile quarterbacks, which is why Fields had a lot of great rushing numbers against them in years past. I got to give Chicago's defense props, though, because ever since they traded for Sweat, they've been really good, simply put. I didn't agree with the trade at the time, because I thought they could have just signed him during the offseason instead of giving away a second-round pick. But the defense has been great. And I do think that even though Cleveland's defense is extremely overrated, in my opinion, because they're giving up like 30 points per road game, it's a home game, so that counts. Now, they did get torched a little bit by injured, or whatever you want to call Trevor Lawrence, because he looked better than anybody I've seen on an ankle injury the week after. But I think I'm going to lean to the under in this game. Just because I do think both defenses are good enough to limit these quarterbacks. Might come down to turnovers, as Chris said before, because both teams have turned it over a lot. We know Flacco's a gunslinger, which is code word for I'm dangerous with the football. But Fields also makes some dumb decisions at times. I'm going to lean Cleveland, though. This defense is really bad on the road, but at home, this defense is very good. And I know that Chicago's defense has been better lately. The Raiders also shut down Josh Dobbs, so I'm going to calm down that performance on Monday night. And they were good against Jared Goff, who is a lawn chair. I mean, we know what Jared Goff is. So for me, I'm going to lean to the under, and I'm going to lean to Cleveland. It's not going to be easy, but Cleveland's been good at home. That's good enough for me. I'll lean to the Browns. My favorite play is the under.
Steamroller, are you on the Browns?
Yeah, I got to be. This is a Chicago offense that's been really, really good as long as they're playing Detroit. They've been pretty horrific against everybody else. The last 6 games, they've put up 17 or less in the 4 games that they weren't playing the Detroit Lions. And the Browns, they are in no way, shape, or form like the Detroit Lions, at least on defense and at least at home. Chicago's team likes to run the football. Browns, kind of middle of the pack, stop of the run, but they are very good at home, giving up just 3.8 yards per carry. The one thing I do have concern about, 3 of the Browns' 4 defensive backs are questionable for this one. It doesn't sound like anything serious. I wouldn't be surprised to see all 3 of them. You've got Delpit, you've got one Thornhill, and Ward, I believe, that are all questionable for this one. This Cleveland defense hasn't been great. They've given up 27 or more in 3 of their last 4. But I think against this Bears team, I just don't think it's a good matchup for the boys from Chicago. I will fade the Monsters in the midway here. Give me Lake Erie's finest, Cleveland Browns, -3.
And I am going to take the under 38 as my official pick here in this game, as I think Joe Flacco is going to come back to earth in this one. I get that he's been going off, but he still was out of the league for a long time, and there's starting to become more and more tape out. I know there was tape before, but more tape of him playing this year. And I think the Bears defense, they've been looking a lot better, like Reichel said. And I think they're going to keep the Browns from scoring enough points to push this total over the number. I also like the Browns defense when they're at home, like they were saying, as Justin Fields hasn't looked very good unless he's playing the Lions or he's at home, like Steamroller was saying, and he's not in either of those spots. So I'm going to take the Browns defense. I'm really hoping Denzel Ward does play in this game. I think that'll help a lot. He can match up on DJ Moore and kind of shut down that option. So keeping it a low-scoring game here in Cleveland, I'm taking the under 38.
Mason, I think you're right. Flacco is one of the few guys that there's actually tape on. I think they have VHS tape that they stick in whenever they want to watch what Flacco's been doing. So yeah, that's
literally
more accurate than you even know.
It's actually funny. Our next game, a little bit different than Bears-Browns, I will say, not as chilly. We've got the Buccaneers who are in Tampa. Well, I guess that's false. The Packers.
Oh, the spread's 3 again.
Yeah,
got a spread of 3 again. Who would have thought? Yeah.
The Buccaneers, they're traveling to Green Bay, where it's probably going to be cold. I'm a moron. And the spread is at -3. Shocking. The total is at 42. Packers are the favorite. Chris, who are you betting on in this one?
Well, if you're a Tampa Bay fan, you're wondering what Tampa Bay team's going to show up. Are you going to be the team that won the first 2 games and the last 2 games, or are you going to be the team that lost 7 out of 9 in between? You look at the Bucks; they haven't beaten anybody really of substance. They beat the Vikings and the Bears, and Tennessee, and the Saints, and the Panthers and the Falcons, and that's why they're tied for first place in that horrible division they call the NFC South. The plus for them is that they've still got 2 more divisional games coming up. And this one, I watched part of that Tampa Bay Atlanta game, and I was not impressed with Tampa Bay on either side of the ball. Then I watched last night and watched Joe Barry decide to run a prevent defense after the Packers took the lead, and it cost them their 3-game win streak. The sad part is 6 and 7 still get you a wild card spot in the NFC. But playing at home here, I'm going to have to lean towards Green Bay. I just don't trust Baker Mayfield enough. He wasn't very good last week against Atlanta. I think he was 14-29 or something like that. I'll take Green Bay begrudgingly. Like Rye said, this would be a game that I have no interest in personally in real life, but for the show purposes, I'll take the Packers. I don't know if they'll get to 42. The weather could be a factor, like you said. Right now they're projecting it to be somewhere around 40 degrees. But between now and Sunday, you never know if some freak snowstorm will blow in at Lambeau.
Rye, you like the Packers or you like the Buccaneers in this spot?
Wouldn't it be crazy if 2 NFC South teams made the playoffs?
Can we just push one of the AFC South? No, that division's bad too. The whole South, is just not ideal
Yeah,
for
they're
football.
rough.
The South will rise again, but it ain't going to be this year.
Yeah. Or this sport potentially, but
Yes, so I loved Green Bay until Monday night, but I still got to back them. I feel the same way. Tampa Bay is going to have trouble in Lambeau in December. This Bucs offense has been one-dimensional. They have been dominated in a lot of games this season. So I think Green Bay takes care of their issues at home, and they take care of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here.
Reichel?
yeah, for me it's a simple handicap. I'm going to fade the warm weather team traveling to freezing cold weather in December. I feel like that's kind of just as simple as that. Tampa's a team that they might not be good, but they're fun. So they got that going for them because they can't stop anybody and they score some points. The Packers were not very good last night, especially offensively. I thought Love missed a decent amount of easy throws. They've been very injured. Watson didn't play. Aaron Jones is always injured. And I saw Wicks got injured midway through that second half. So I am wondering if their receivers are going to be healthier or if maybe Aaron Jones will suit up for once. But I do think the Packers at home are in line for a better showing. Defensively, I still think this team's okay. Yes, I know DeVito was good yesterday. I get it. But I think this defense is fine. And I do think Tampa's pass defense is so bad. Once again, Ritter threw for 340 last week against this team. I think Jordan Love gets back on track, but it's mostly fading a warm weather team against a cold weather team. LaFleur, unfortunately, saw his undefeated December record end, but he's still good in December. So I'm going to lean to LaFleur. I'll take the Packers, mostly just fading a warm weather team traveling to a cold and windy Lambeau Field.
Steamroller?
Yeah, I swear to God, I'm talking about that Falcons-Panther. I swear those two teams play like every other week. I think they played like 6 times this year. Like every time we do this show, it's the Falcons and the Panthers again. Fantastic. They used to call this one the Bay of Pig, the Battle of the Bays, and that's kind of going to be the case here. I'm with Reichel in this one. You're looking at, although it is going to be decent weather, like you said, high in the low 40s, no precipitation on the horizon except for the unforeseen snowstorm that Chris expects. I'm not sure about that, but it looks like it's going to be clear weather up there in Green Bay. And yeah, this is a Jordan Love. This is a player that really struggled last night. I'm like Rye. I really liked the Packers last night, and they just came out and really showed nothing. Love missed some easy throws early on. I think it affected his confidence. I don't think he's going to have these issues against the Buccaneers. This is a terrible, terrible pass defense. The bad news is not going to be able to run on them. Good news is don't have to. Give me the Packers. Get back on track. -3.
Yep, make it a clean sweep here as I'm on the Packers -3 as well. Reichel brought up my main point besides the cold weather and warm weather teams, but LaFleur's been a beast in December. He's very tough to beat, And I know they did lose last night, but I think they're going to get back on track this next week. They're going to throw the ball all over Tampa Bay, and they're going to score just enough points to cover this spread. Now, our next game, another battle of possible backup quarterbacks as the Texans, who's still without C.J. Stroud. He's in the concussion protocol as of right now, so make sure you're checking up on those injury updates before the game starts. But the Texans, they're going on the road to take on the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are 2.5-point favorites after that awesome comeback against the Dolphins last night, and this total set at 37.5. Chris, who you betting on in this one?
A lot of this is going to hinge on injuries, obviously. Stroud being banged up for Houston, and then will Jeffrey Simmons play for Tennessee? Because the reason why Miami had success running the ball yesterday was, of course, Simmons wasn't in the middle to plug up the middle of that off our defensive line, and then Tart was banged up as well. It's hard. It's so difficult because, like I said, you don't know with Stroud, but like Reichel was talking about earlier, Tank Dell's gone for the year. Nico Collins got hurt in the first drive against the Jets. You don't know if he's going to play either. There's not a whole lot of receiving threats that scare you for Houston beyond those two guys. Now, will Tennessee come out and fall flat on their face after coming back late in that game last night? It's possible, but they're playing at home. And 2 weeks ago, we talked about how well the Titans play at home compared down the road. I'm going to give them the upper hand here, mainly because they are playing at home, and Houston has to adapt to playing outdoors, which can be difficult playing in Nashville this time of year. If this was 3 weeks from now when they play in Houston, it might be a different story. But I'll take the Titans minus 2.5.
Right?
Yeah, so I think Stroud was downgraded earlier today, right before we came on. So it's going to be Davis Mills again.
Ooh,
Nico
another backup
Collins.
quarterback? Nice.
Yeah, we've seen this before, and we know how it goes. As Chris said, Titans are at home. This is a divisional opponent. I don't mind a short week. Texans are playing their second consecutive road game. I actually like the under here. I lean towards the Titans to win this one.
Reichel?
Yeah, I'm going to lean to the Titans as well. I want to congratulate them, not for the big comeback, but for winning a road game. Congratulations. It's been like a year and a half. I'm happy for you. But the Texans, without Stroud potentially being in the lineup, I think are kind of a lost cause here. We saw them last week against the Jets. I know it was outdoors, really bad weather, and they got killed. But you're looking at the past game without Dell. It's just not the same team. And I do think that you're looking at the Titans, who have been really bad on the road, with the exception of the final 3 minutes of the game yesterday. But they're good at home, simply put. And I do think that Tennessee, even though this team is probably not going to make the playoffs or compete for anything, Vrabel's not going to let his guys quit on the season. And I do think that the Titans are going to bring it in this division game. But it's most of the Texans being a young, inexperienced team playing meaningful football in December, and they now have to use a backup quarterback. So I think it's not a great spot. Maybe Stroud plays. I doubt it. He's the future of the franchise. It looked like a pretty rough injury. I don't think he's going to be rushed back by any means before he's ready to go. So I'm going to lean to Tennessee. Do I think Levis is good? Not really. Is he better than Davis Mills? Probably. That's good enough for me. I'll lean to Tennessee in the spot.
Steamroller, you on the Titans as well, or are you going rogue here?
I'm going rogue.
We got disagreement. Nice.
I'm going to go the other way here. This is a Tennessee team that, generally speaking, if you stop the running attack, you stop the Titans. Now, there have been a couple exceptions the last couple of weeks with Miami and Carolina. But I think that Houston is surprisingly good against the run. Second in the NFL, giving up just 3.6 yards per carry. And oddly enough, they're better on the road against the run than they are at home. So I will giving them just 3.2 yards per carry away from the friendly confines there in Houston. I think Davis Mills might have a little something for him. We'll see what happens. I'm just not impressed with this Titans team. Way too inconsistent. I know they're better at home. I think the Texans get back on it here. And this is a game in real life I won't touch it, but I'm tired of everybody taking the small favorites and it being a clean sweep. I just want to see my name under the Lone Wolf logo. I'm going with the Texans plus 2.5 here.
Well,
fuck it. Take the Texans on a money line and get 120, 122, whatever it is.
There it is. I like that. You'll definitely be the lone wolf here. Is I'm staying away from a side. I'm actually taking the under 37.5. So I think the Texans, they're going to struggle without CJ Stroud. But like Steamroller was saying, the Texans can stop the run. And if you shut down Derrick Henry and make Will Levis beat you, I just don't see it happening. I know he had a bunch of yards, a few touchdowns last night against the Dolphins. But, I mean, that was 4 minutes that he put together of decent offense against a prevent defense in Miami. I think he's going to have a hard time in this game. And so are the Texans. So I'm taking another low scoring under 37.5. And with our next game, another high powered offense. Not really. The Giants, they're traveling to New Orleans. The Saints are 6-point favorites. And this total set at another 38. As it's going to be an interesting game. Chris, who are you betting on in this one?
I don't know if I would take the Saints -6 against a mid-major college team at this point. Sure, they beat Carolina, but we've already discussed how bad that game or how bad that team is. You look at the Giants, they didn't force a turnover the first 4 weeks of the season. They were a -8 in giveaway takeaway. Since then, they're +14. They've forced 22 turnovers in the last 9 games. They had 3 last night. They had 3 against the Patriots the week before the bye. They had 6 against the Commanders 3 weeks ago. The Saints, like Rye was talking about earlier, and Reichel mentioned, they've basically thrown Derek Carr under the bus. The Saints did nothing offensively in that game against the Panthers. And the Giants, for some reason, Tommy Cutlets is getting the job done. It's hard to argue with 3 straight wins. And you're getting 6 points here for a team that's actually looked quasi decent of late. They've scored 65 points in the last 3 weeks. They get gouged on the ground, but New Orleans doesn't run the ball well. I mean, the Giants are 31st in yards per attempt allowed, but the Saints are 28th running the ball at 3.7 yards a carry, so they can't even take advantage of that weakness. Olave has been banged up. Shaheed's missed the last couple games. You're throwing to Lynn Bowden Jr. out there on the outside. Nobody's impressed with him.
He's no Lynn Bowden Sr., I'll tell you that much.
There you go. Michael Thomas is gone. You got A.T. Perry, who's caught like 5 passes all year, and the ghost of Jimmy Graham. I'll take the Giants and the points here. I don't trust the Saints.
Right? Do you agree with him? Do you trust the Saints yet?
Now, Chris?
Yeah, I actually.
A.T. Perry, he's a real guy.
I know.
Played at Wake Forest.
Go ahead, Rod.
Yeah, I agree, but I am actually taking under. Neither team does anything well at all. Saints always play close games. They have trouble covering the spread, especially at home. They're 1-5 ATS at home this year. Both teams have trouble scoring. 4 of the Saints' last 5 have gone under. 4 of the last 6 have went under at home. Giants are also 4-1 to the under. They went over yesterday.
Yeah,
make that 4-2. But I don't see much scoring here. I'm taking the under. A lot of sloppy football is going to be played at Caesars Dome. We calling it now?
Yep. How about you, Reichel? Who do you think's going to win this one?
I'm going to go with the Giants, plus the points here. Simply put, I think DeVito has shown something. He's shown moxie, we'll put it that way. But you're looking at the Saints, and Derek Carr was kind of rushed back post-concussion. Might have been too early, who knows, because he didn't do anything last week, but they were against a fake football team, so they ended up getting the win anyway. The Giants, though, look, I've roasted a lot of coaches around the league because of the salaries they're getting paid. Dable's a great football coach. Like, he's really good at what he does. And I do think that you're looking at Dennis Allen, and now it's my time to roast him again because I just think that he's a terrible football coach. So I think you have a coaching edge for the Giants. I think the Giants have a renewed sense of life because the NFC is allowing 7 teams into the playoffs, and they probably deserve about 5. So the Giants have a shot at a playoff spot. So I do think the Giants are going to be motivated for this game. So are the Saints, but I just think it's too many points. I think the argument is you're expecting DeVito to regress into being the quarterback that we probably all faded at Syracuse at one point or another, but he's been good, just simply put. And I think that Derek Carr is a guy who really doesn't bring much to the table at this point. Taysom Hill was out last week too. I don't know if he's going to play or not. That's another dimension with the ground game. But I think the Giants are a team that's bought in, And I do think that they're a team that's been, you could argue overachieving or not, but I can tell you right now, the Saints have underachieved and then some. I'm not laying 6. I actually think the Giants might win this game. I'll take the Giants plus the points.
Steamroller, do you agree with the boys?
I do. I'm right there. Yeah, Carr last week, he's still banged up, and it's not just a concussion. He's still got a rib problem. He's still got a shoulder problem. Sure, he was 18 of 26 last week for 119 yards. Yikes.
And most of those came in the fourth quarter.
What is that? About 4.7 yards per attempt. That's not NFL quality right there, boys. This is a Saints team. You know, somebody said that neither team does anything well. You know what? I think the Giants have been playing better football. This line is an absolute travesty. Of all the ones they should have made 3, this is another one. I've got the Giants on the road here, and again, I wouldn't be surprised to see a straight-up victory against this New Orleans Saints team that just doesn't have a great quarterback, and it's okay because they don't have anybody to throw the ball to.
Yep, I agree with you guys 100% again. I'm on the Giants plus 6 as Bride took my favorite stat. The Saints are only 1-5 against the spread at home. They've continued to struggle this year. Derek Carr's still banged up, and if they do have to put in Jameis Winston, I don't trust him either. He's a turnover machine, and I like the way this Giants team's playing. 3 straight wins. DeVito, he's got the people rocking. They're excited. They're motivated, and I agree with Reichel 100%. They've got the coaching advantage, and I think they're going to outplay the Saints in this game. Now, our next game, it's a little bit more interesting. We'll talk about Reichel's favorite team here, the Jets. They're going on the road to take on the Dolphins. Miami's a 9-point favorite. In this total, we almost got to 40. It's set at 39.5. Chris, I'll let you start. Who do you like in this one?
Well, it's always fun to watch Miami lose. Let's start with that. I don't know what to make of the Dolphins. You know, they look good against bad teams. Now, are the Jets a bad team? Sure. But we just watched them lose to Tennessee yesterday. Zach Wilson's probably coming off the game of his life in the NFL against Houston. Can he do it twice? Will lightning strike twice? Well, at least it's in a different place because the game's at Hard Rock Stadium as opposed to East Rutherford. I don't know if I want to, after seeing Miami cough up that lead yesterday, if I want to give almost double-digit points with them in this game. Now, sure, they could blow them out again like they did on Black Friday when Tim Boyle was starting. But I'm going to take the Jets in the points. I think that, the Jets are good defensively. We saw how they can make life miserable for opposing quarterbacks with what they did to Stroud. And then, they've shut down Josh Allen in the first game this season against Buffalo. They can make life tough for good quarterbacks. Plus, you look at Miami's offensive line as a train wreck. Connor McGovern, I think that's who their center is done for the year. Tore knee ligaments last night. So it could be Liam Eichenberg, who I saw a lot of Miami fans were blaming for a couple of the issues yesterday.
It's Connor Williams, by the way.
Connor Williams, thank you. That's right. There was a McGovern that played for the Jets.
He's on was he on the Cowboys now? I think.
Yeah,
I think
so.
The Jets. Yeah.
I'll take the Jets in the points here.
I like it. Ride. What about you? You riding with the old Jets?
I am not. So we're seeing the similar numbers to what we saw during the Black Friday game, but now Miami's at home. Miami's coming off a loss. I guess Wilson coming back helps Jets offense a little bit, but I don't think it matters. I think Dolphins are still a great offensive team. They should have no trouble putting up points against this defense. I understand they have a short week, but they don't have to travel. And Miami has a pretty tough schedule coming up after this game. So this is a big game. They have Miami and Dallas. Then they go to Baltimore after that. So they have to win this. I think they win it big. I think they dominate, flex their muscles. I like them to cover this big number.
Reichel?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Jets. I didn't think I was going to say that going into yesterday's games or going into Sunday's games, but Zach Wilson showed a pulse, and that's good enough for me. You're looking at Miami losing their starting center, so there's going to be some issues with the overall snap exchange now. Tyreek Hill got injured. I was shocked he returned to the game. That looked like a multiple-week injury, another hip drop tackle that resulted in injury, which the NFL is trying to get rid of. But the Dolphins are a team that I think they're the AFC version of the Detroit Lions. They're a team that when things are going well, they're a fun offensive team. Are they good against good teams? No. Are they good against bad teams? Usually. But we saw, for example, the Dolphins lose to the Titans, a bad team. We saw the Lions lose to the Bears in the same week, But I do think you're looking at a spot where the Dolphins are a team that is kind of in a little bit of, I don't want to say turmoil, but with Hill's injury, missing a starting center, you have some issues. And if Wilson can look even half as decent.
And it looks like Scott Reichel's having a few technical difficulties, so we're going to move on. It did sound like he was on the Jets +9 there. He liked them against the Dolphins. To our next pick, we're going to roll over to the Steamroller. Who do you like in this Jets versus Dolphins matchup?
Yeah, I'm the same way. A lot of people talking about, the Dolphins just beat this Jets team 34-13. This is a different Jets team right now. Of course, that game featured the Hail Mary that was returned for a touchdown, and it featured touchdown Timmy Boyle recording a QBR of 4.9. I don't know how many of you follow quarterback stats, but that's not good. 50 is average. 50. So 4.9 would be not good. I don't know that Zach Wilson can repeat the performance of this weekend, but I don't think that he has to. I just think this is a Miami team that's, turmoil may be too strong of a word, but they're definitely trying to find their identity and get back on track. Tyreek Hill nursing that ankle, I would say more than maybe any other injury this week. This is the one that you want to definitely keep track of before the game on Sunday. And right now, as we record this on Tuesday, he's listed as day-to-day. But you know what? This is a Jets defense that generally has been playing pretty well. I think 9 is a heavy lift here. I'm on the Jets. I'll take the Jets. I don't know that they win straight up. I doubt that happens, but I'll certainly take them with almost a touchdown and a field goal. Give me the 9.
Yep, I'm on the Jets +9 as well. I think their defense is going to play a lot better than they did in that first matchup where they gave up that Hail Mary touchdown like you were talking about, Steehn, which really boosted up the Dolphins point total there. But I don't love this Dolphins team. They struggle, and without Tyreek Hill, I don't think their offense is even close to as good. If he's not playing in this one, I'm 100% riding with the Jets +9. If Hill does play, I'm going to get bold, and I'll probably take the over. I did it in the first game, and I think that the Jets, they can put up a few points if Wilson plays well, and I think the Dolphins will continue to score as well. So it'll be interesting to see. But, yeah, if Tyreek Hill doesn't play, my official play will definitely be the Jets +9.
Now, I will say this about Hill, at least from his years in Kansas City. He's not a guy that sits out with little dings and dents.
That is true.
He's a gamer. If he can go, he's going to go. So we'll see what happens. But, those high ankle sprains, yep. They're funny, and they do funny things when you want to make really dramatic cuts.
Yep.
It seemed telling, though, at the end of that game when they had the third down before they had to punt, he wasn't even on the field.
Wasn't on the field. Yep, and I noticed that as well. I don't think that's a good sign. And I'm sure everybody here and probably everybody listening and watching has had a sprained ankle before. And as long as you keep moving,
yep.
as long as you stay on it, you keep moving around, it's okay. You can deal with the pain, you can deal with the limited mobility. But once you sit down and that ankle gets cold, it's all over. It's all over. You are severely restricted. And I think that's what happened last night. I like the Jets here anyway, and I think without Hill, love the Jets. Wouldn't be surprised to see this number come down to 7.5 or 8 without Hill.
Yep, I agree completely. And our final game of this early slate on Sunday, it was flexed to the 11 o'clock or 1 p.m. games for you Eastern folks. The Kansas City Chiefs, they're 9.5-point favorites going on the road against the New England Patriots. This total set at 37. Chris, wrap it up for us. Who do you like in this one?
Much as I usually don't say this, I'd lean towards the Chiefs, but like Steehn said, your best bet is to take the under and get out of here because neither one of these offenses have looked very good. I think New England used up their quota for the month of December as far as touchdowns go in the first half against Pittsburgh last week, so they've only got one left for the month. I don't think they'll score more than 10 points. I don't know if the Chiefs score. They might score 20 or 24. I'll take the under here and leave it at that.
Right?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I kind of feel like I want to see Kansas City dominate this game, but I don't know that they're going to. Obviously, this game is more important to Kansas City. They've had killer mistakes, bad penalties. I think they clean it up here. I'll take the Chiefs.
I like it. Reichel, you on the Chiefs?
It's 9.5 for the team that can't really score, but they're against a team that can't score either. I feel like this game's going to be within the number for the entire way through. I just feel like it's going to be one of those games where the Chiefs are maybe up like 17-3 at some point in the fourth quarter, and the question is, can Zappe score a garbage time touchdown? I think I'm going to go with the unpopular opinion. I think I'm going to lean to the Patriots in this spot. I like the extra prep time because they probably need it because this team's atrocious. But the Chiefs are off of a pretty emotional loss there. They had a temper tantrum about the refs afterwards, but I just don't trust this team to score. And you're looking at the Chiefs being one of the most fun teams in the offense, most fun teams in the league in years past. They're just not anymore. They're just a boring team. And I don't know if that's because Bieniemy left. I don't know if that's just because of maybe teams adjusting to what the Chiefs like to do, but they've had an issue scoring, especially in the second half of games all season long. And I do like the extra prep time the Patriots have. Do I think this is a good Patriots team? No, I think they're terrible. But I think they're good enough to keep this within 9 points. So I'm going to lean to New England here. Might be unpopular, but I really don't want to lay this number with the Chiefs at this point in time. I'm going to lean to New England. I like the under, though, in this game.
Perfect. Steamroller, how about you?
Yeah, I don't know who that would be unpopular with. If you're out there laying the Chiefs and almost 10 points, I wish you Godspeed. I don't see it. For all their fault, this is a New England defense that's done a really good job of limiting their opponent's points. And it's even more incredible because the offense does nothing. So this defense is on the field a lot, and they've still managed to give up 64 points in the last 4 games, not even 13 points over their last 5 games. I think this is a Chiefs team that's going to be lucky to get to 21. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I just believe that's true. And I think if the Chiefs don't get to 21, there's no way this game goes over the total. I would play New England in the points here, but I really like the under in this game. I think it's one of the top plays of the week for me.
Yep, I agree with you guys to wrap up this one as I'm taking the under 37 as well. This Chiefs offense, they're just not the same. I can't trust them like you guys are saying. This Patriots defense has been very good. I like them at home. And on the other side of things, I don't trust the Patriots offense at all for obvious reasons. And this Chiefs defense, even though they have had some struggles, I still like them a lot. I think they can get the job done against a bad Patriots offense. And I think they're going to keep this game extremely, extremely low scoring. So taking the under 37 there.
One thing I forgot to mention, Pacheco is still questionable for this one. So we'll see what happens. You know, Clyde did okay there against the Bills, especially early, but he kind of went in the tank there. He had 11 carries for 39 yards, and you know was decent, but he's not going to break one like Pacheco is, and he's not the threat out of the backfield that Pacheco is. He is a better blocker than Pacheco, so he's more of a 3-down guy. But yeah, there's just not a lot to like other than our quarterback about the Kansas City Chiefs right now. They're not able to run the football, and they're not able to develop anything in the passing game on a consistent basis. So yeah, I think you got to play the under here.
Yep, I totally agree. I think it'll be very interesting to see. I think this entire week 15 is going to be really interesting. It's like we were talking about, a lot of small spreads, a lot of low totals, and we'll see if we can take down Vegas. But before we get out of here, I did want to remind everyone one last time that we are recording this on Tuesday, so make sure you check all of those breaking news and injury reports before placing your bets. Also wanted to remind you about the premium packages available over on the Winners and Whiners website. Chris King, the Steamroller, Rye Cape, and myself, we all have those premium best bet deals available. And then head over to Twitter, get on social media, and find Scott Reichel. As I'm telling you, he's one of the best free pick guys you can find on that site. So get over there, do that. And my last reminder, don't forget about the social media links. I know that I was talking about Reichel's, but the Winners and Whiners Twitter, Discord, and TikTok accounts have been rocking and rolling. We've been hitting parlays left and right. It's been an absolute blast, and everyone's been winning a ton of money. So make sure you click on those links, and we'll be your one-stop shop for winning cash. And before we go, I wanted to give each and every one of these cappers their opportunity to share where you can find all of their awesome work. Chris, why don't you start out for us?
Well, you can catch me on Winners and Whiners and StatSalt most of the time, writing about the NBA, the NHL, college basketball this time of year. The bowl game's coming up, been on a roll in college football heading into bowl season, so that's always a plus. And then Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. just parlays with me because Reichel still doesn't wake up that early.
Perfect. Rye, where can we find all your work?
Yeah, so I'm at Reichel on all social media. Over at Winners and Whiners, you'll find me as Tom Macrina. As Chris said, the bowl season is starting up this weekend. So do yourself a favor, get that 30-day package for Reichel. And I'm on a 14-0-1 run in college football. That one came from that Army over last week.
It's been awesome to follow you.
Never
You've
in
been on
doubt
fire.
on the over, right? Never in doubt.
Yeah.
That was a game that was a game that was a bad beat on both sides.
Yeah, it was.
If you had the over, you probably should have won, and if you had the under, they should never been in that position. So
True.
Yeah, it was really a double bad beat that most of them pushed.
That game is just known as the bad beat as to start bowl season. So glad we got that out of the way. But Rye, I will say your run has been incredible the last few weeks. If you guys haven't, make sure you hop on his premium picks as quickly as you can. Steamroller.
Yeah, I think 14-0-1 is worth saying again. That's one of the more impressive. You know, we had Loud on a 12-0 NFL run, and now Rye went on a 14-0 college run with just that one blemish with the Army-Navy game. So I'm not counting that. That's 14-0 right there.
Yeah, the only kick that I took lately was the Ohio State or going over the total when I had the under lately.
Had a
the
lot
Ohio
of
State Michigan game.
Yeah, no, they've been tough. College football, it's a battle. You got to prepare before the games start. But hey, if you want to prepare correctly, hop on these guys' packages. Also, don't forget about the Steamroller. Where can we find all your work, sir?
Well, first of all, I'm always in favor of anybody that wants to hop on my package. Knock yourself out. That's good news. Yeah, I think you can find me over there again under the experts tab on the Winners and Whiners site. And big news, at least as far as I'm concerned, be making my return to video. I'm planning on doing a video pick for the Thursday night football game. I want to make sure I got everything in line. My studio all lined up here, but I will be returning to the daily football or to the daily video grind. So be looking out for that. It's going to be.
Am I bringing my farm hat?
What's that?
Am I bringing my farm hat or no?
I still got it. It made the move. I'll have you on occasionally. We can.
Okay.
We can
I'll bring the hat. We're good.
We'll bring the hat. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
Perfect. Well, definitely don't miss out on Steamroller's picks. He's been on fire as of late as well. And last and certainly not least, Mr. Reichel, where can we find all of your awesome free picks?
Yeah, so the free picks you can find on the Winners and Whiners YouTube page. Also doing a bunch of podcasts, so check all that out on my Twitter at Reichel Radio. Just a reminder, if even the quarterbacks are bad in the NFL, just wait until you see some of these bowl game quarterbacks, because I know Drake May officially joined the draft, going to the draft. Caleb Williams opted out. Riley Leonard's going to Notre Dame. A lot of really bad quarterbacks. So get excited.
Sam Hartman opted out too.
Sam Hartman opted out. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of bad quarterbacks. So remember, even though these quarterbacks that we're going to see in the NFL this week are not good, just wait until you see some of the second and third stringers in college. It could be a lot worse. I'll tell you that much.
Fifth string in some games.
Yeah.
You'll be seeing them starting for the Jets next year, so that'll be great.
Maybe.
Low blow to end the day. And you can find all of my work over on the Winners and Whiners website, putting out expert picks and packages. I'm also putting out free content, picks, and parlays on our Winners and Whiners Twitter account, Discord channel, and on TikTok, as we've been having an absolute blast. My final reminder, please make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you guys can come back next week and catch a few more free picks.